Hello again! Welcome to 4.3, solving with variables on both sides. Remember, this is not the only thing that you have to use to learn this. It's just a jumping off point. So if this video, you still feel like you're not quite sure, you don't understand all the questions, make sure that you reach out to me. We can get you more videos, we can get you more practice, we can work one-on-one, lots of different options there. Remember, my Google Voice number is 612-888-7388, so feel free to call me on that if you have questions, or text me, yeah. And that's just work number, so it doesn't, won't bother me. You're not bothering me. Bring it on. Bring on the communication. Okay, let's get started. The thing that makes today's questions different than yesterday's, or unique from what not yesterday's, but the last video, is that you'll notice that we have question marks on both sides of the hanger, and that's not something that we've seen before. So remember, question marks are X's, and the weights are considered to be ones, is how I talk about it. And so remember, when we're on a hanger and it's balanced, it means that you have the same amount of weight on the left and the right, and that's the same as a equation. So let's write this out. What would this look like if we wrote it as the equation? Well, we would have 4 X's over here on the left, and then 40 ones, or a weight of 40. And then we have 2 X's over on the right, plus 60 ones, or a weight of 60. And then we're going to keep using this strategy where we highlight the X's in one color, and then we're going to highlight the numbers in another color. Notice how I'm always highlighting the sign in front of the number with the number. That's our good strategy to use. All right, so visually, what our goal is to get all the X's onto one side and all the numbers onto the other side. That way we can divide and see how much each X is worth. So in order to do that, I'm always going to try and get X alone on the left-hand side. That's how I teach it, and that's how I do it. And so if you learned it a different way, or you want to try a different strategy, feel free. I'd be happy to help you with that, but that's how I'm teaching it. It's not the only way to do it, but that's how I do it. So over here on the right-hand side, I see that I have 2 X's, a group of 2 X's. And so I'm going to remove those, right? And if I want to keep the hanger balanced, then I need to remove the same amount of X's on the left-hand side. So what does that look like when we're doing it on the equation? Coming over to the equation, we see that we could subtract 2 X's from that side. And then that makes it so we no longer have any X's on the right-hand side. We canceled out the X's. And so adding top to bottom always, we have 2 X's over here plus 40 is equal to 60. All right, so now it's just a 2-step equation. Another way to think about it is that we want to gather up all the numbers to be on the right-hand side. So later on, you're going to hear me use the term cancel, right? So I'm going to cancel out the numbers that are on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, we do the same thing. So remember that when we're solving a 2-step equation, we always add or subtract first. What does that look like in our hanger example, in our balanced hanger example? Well, I said, okay, I'm going to take 40 pounds away from the left-hand side. And so I'm going to take 40 pounds out of the 60 pounds. And so I have 20 pounds left on the right-hand side. And so now we can see visually that if we took this 20 and we broke it up into 2 10s, right? We changed in that 20 for 2 10s. Each X that's on the left goes with 1 10 that's on the right. And essentially what that means is that we're just dividing both sides of the equal sign by 2 so that we know how much each X is worth. And remember, it's always dividing top to bottom, 20 divided by 2 in your calculator if you needed to do that. Okay, so now you can kind of see what happens with the visual in the hanger, and then also with the equation. And I think the hardest part about these questions is knowing how to start. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go through these 3 examples, and I'm going to show you how do you start. But we're going to pause the video here for just a second, and we're going to set it up. Make sure, why don't you just do all 6 equations that you can see right here and highlight the x's in green and highlight the numbers in orange. That way we're setting ourselves up with a good strategy. See you in a second. All right, so now that we have that all set up, remember that you always want to highlight the symbol that's to the left of the number. So for example, I highlighted this negative with this 16. And we're just going to do the first step. So the first step is always just to cancel the x's on the right-hand side. So cancel the x's on the right, on the right. I have a little song I made up, so I'll sing a little bit as we're going through. So the first step is to cancel the x's on the right, on the right. And so when I say cancel, what I mean is I'm actually removing 2 x's from that side of the hanger, right? And so those x's are no longer there. And you always, you know, if it's a positive 2x, you subtract 2x. If it's a negative 2x, I would add 2x. Always adding top to bottom. This gives me 5x plus 45 is equal to, and then the reason why we highlight that negative is so that we don't forget to rewrite the 16 with the negative below. So this is just all we're doing for the first start because we want to get you started. We want you to feel comfortable with these equations. We're just doing the first step, so we can stop there and move on to the next one. Something that I would suggest that you do is whenever you see a naked x, you put clothes on that x. It's too cold outside. Put some clothes on. So you put a 1 in front of those naked x's. All right, again, we're going to start. The first line of the song that I'm going to be singing is, first you cancel the x's on the right, on the right. So I go on the right-hand side and I subtract 5 x's. Now this one can be a little bit confusing for people, so let's get our calculators out. I would say I definitely recommend if you are somebody who's like, oh, adding negatives, multiplying negatives, ooh, you know, not my strong suit, that's okay. Just get your calculator out. No shame in that game. So let's do, remember you always add top to bottom, right? So it's a -1 plus -5. It's like saying I owe you $1 and then I borrowed $5 more. So now I need to owe you $6. All right, we didn't change anything with that 14. The 5 and the -5 becomes 0. Something you could do to check to make sure that you're canceling correctly is you could add top to bottom there too. So 5 plus -5, I get 0. Okay, good. I know that I canceled that out correctly. And I'm going to bring down the 13. I could bring down the plus side in front of the 13. It doesn't hurt anything, but we just assume if we don't write a negative that it's positive. All right, last one before you get to try a few on your own. Okay, so cancel the x's on the right, on the right. So we're going to, we have a -12 here, so we have to add 12 to both sides to get rid of it. So again, something that you could do to double check that you did that correctly would be to go -12 plus 12, right, plus +12 is equal to 0. That's how you know that you canceled correctly. And then over here, it's just 10 and 12 added together, so that's 22 x's plus 60, and then we have 30 on the right-hand side. So there you have it. That was 3 examples of just the first step of solving these kinds of equations. You're gonna pause the video and then try these, and I'll reveal the answers for you. So go ahead and give them a shot. These ones you don't have to turn into Schoology. These ones are just for practice. Okay, go ahead and check your answers and see if you did that first step correctly. Now we're gonna move on and we're gonna do 3 examples together of going through the whole process again. So it's the same thing as we did up at the very beginning, but only with the algebra. We're not going to use the hanger in these examples. Okay, so, oh yeah, so go ahead and pause one more time and set up these examples with me. We're using green for X's and orange for the numbers. All right, I'm back. I'm all set up. I'm ready to go. I also put ones on those naked X's. Put some clothes on. Naked X's around here. All right, so let's start. We're going to sing the song. So first you cancel the X's on the right, on the right. Hopefully that's something you're comfortable with now after doing the first step above. So I got rid of that. Always add top to bottom. Remember that. So this is 2x minus 12, and then we bring down the 16. So that was the same example that we did together. Nope, different. Just kidding. Okay, so now the song keeps going, and it says, then you cancel the numbers on the left, on the left. And so I'm going to do plus 12, because that means I'm canceling out the numbers, or the ones, on the left-hand side. So it's 2x is equal to 28. Okay, and the last part of the song goes, last divide by the number that's in front of the x. So you divide by the 2, divide by 2, and you get x is equal to 14. Remember, you're always dividing top to bottom, so in your calculator you would put in 28 divided by 2. All right, so let's sing the whole song together with this whole example. First you cancel the X's on the right, then you cancel the numbers on the left, last divide by the number that's in front of the X. That's how you solve equations with variables on both sides. So I like to sing. Singing helps me remember things. It's really fun. Those that example, that song is Daya, Where Do the Good Boys Go to Hideaway. That's the name of the song. So if you wanted to look up the song Hideaway, it's set to that chorus. It was a popular song a few years ago. I like pop music, so maybe it's a little corny for you, but you know, if it helps, use the song. All right, so first you cancel the X's on the right, So I'm going to add these together. I get 5x plus 13 over here. Remember, you're always adding top to bottom. Then you cancel the numbers on the left, So we cancel out these ones or numbers here. This is a 5x over here. Remember, it's really important that you're adding top to bottom. So let me do this one on the calculator just because I feel like it is a little bit tricky. We're going to do, oops, can't see it, negative 22 plus negative 13 on our calculator, so that is negative 35. All right, last part of the song. Last divide by the number that's in front of the X. So X is equal to negative 7. Remember, you're dividing top to bottom, so that would be negative 35 divided by 5, negative 7. All right, last example from me, and then you get to do 9 examples and turn them in on Schoology. So first you cancel the X's on the right, and so we would add together. This is negative 2x plus 8 equals negative 13. Then you cancel the numbers on the left, So I'm going to minus 8 from both sides. And I have the negative 2x on the left-hand side. I add top to bottom, so I need to do negative 13 plus negative 8 in my calculator, which would be negative 21. All right, and then it's last divide by the number that's in front of the X. So if we tried to do this on a calculator, we would get positive 10.5, but we're going to use a reduced fraction. So real quick, I will do that for you. We're going to do negative 21 divided by negative 2. We get a fraction or a decimal. We don't want decimals in this class, so we turn it into a fraction. It's just 21 over 2. So 21 over 2 would be the answer. All right, you guys got your work cut out for you. Again, feel free to contact me if you need help. I'm more than happy to give you more strategies and different ways of doing it. Good luck. Have fun.